Resident. Resident are students who prefer to live in university-provided housing on campus. They usually live in dorms because they are close to an educational institution. Meanwhile, a non-resident student is a student who studies at a university but does not live in the on-campus housing offered by the institution. Instead, many choose off-campus independent living arrangements such as rental and apartments or sharing housing with roommates. However, the housing options available to resident and non-resident students play an important influence in determining their overall college experience. The choice between on-campus accommodation and independent living is influenced by a variety of factors, including academic success, social context, and personal well-being. This study intends to look into the various causes underlying resident and non-resident students' accommodation decision, with the goal of gaining a full understanding of the repercussions these choices may have on their academic and personal life.
Next, let's move on to methodology. So, an explanation of a data set's basic features through statistics is called descriptive data. We collected data for this report by comparing accommodation preferences of resident and non-resident students. There are two categories into which all of the obtained data have been divided, which is qualitative and quantitative. Next is population. The term population refers to the total group about which you wish to gather information or draw conclusion. And in our report, the population is all the students in UiTM Pasir Gudang. Other than that is sample. A sample is a subset of the specific group from which data will be collected, as well as the population selected for the study. Only 100 students were chosen as respondents for the study out of over 1,000 students at the UiTM. Besides that, our report employed a technique known as simple random sampling. Simple random sampling is a kind of probability sampling in which the researcher selects a group of participants at random from the population. And lastly is data collection method. We employed the primary data approach to gather data using an online questionnaire survey in order to examine all of the data in this study. And consequently, an online questionnaire has been employed to collect all the data from UiTM students. A Google form is used to prepare a few questions on UiTM student, resident versus non-resident. Next is finding. According to the pie chart, the majority of 44 respondents agree that location and proximity to campus are the most important factor when choosing an accommodations during studies. This is because students can save time and money by living closer to their college instead of commuting from far away places. Following that, 33 respondents agree that cost and affordability are also important when choosing accommodations during studies. This is because a lot of students often struggle with tight budget, because some of them might be receiving financial support from family, working part-time jobs, or taking out students' loans to pay for their expenses. Lastly, a total of 23 respondents chose the answer internet speed and reliability as an appropriate response. When selecting accommodation, especially when it comes to online learning, research, and communication, students frequently consider internet speed and stability to be important factors. Next, based on the pie chart above, many respondents agree that the safety and security of the area play a significant role when deciding on accommodation. This answer was selected by 52 respondents. When students feel safe and secure in their environment, they are likely to be less stressed and worried. This allows them to concentrate on their studies without having to worry about their safety all the time. Next, the availability of social events and activity is the second factor, with 42 respondents. This is because living close to campus social events make it simpler for students to engage in university life outside of the classroom. The final answer comes from 6 respondents who choose the aesthetic appeal of the building as a significant role in deciding accommodation. In my view, a building's aesthetic appeal gives students the freedom to express their individuality and taste.
For question 6, how does the choice of accommodation impact their academic performance? There are 40% who choose no noticeable effect on their academic performance. This really proves that whatever their living situation, it doesn't significantly impact their study habits. Next, 40 students vote that there was a positive impact on their academic performance. Choosing accommodations that offer a comfortable and study-friendly environment can have a significant effect on their academic achievement. So, it will help students to concentrate more on their academics when they live in a peaceful environment. Lastly, for the negative impact, there are 18 votes from respondents. Maybe living in a noisy environment or with no peaceful can cause tension and make it difficult for them to concentrate when studying or doing their works. For question 10, have they noticed any difference in their academic performance after changing their accommodation type? 49 votes for improved academic performance. It is possible that switching to a fresh location can help to avoid distractions, especially if it is calmer or provides a better study space. Meanwhile, 27 respondents vote that changing accommodation types decline their academic performance. It is because certain types of accommodation sometimes make people more likely to get outside distractions, such as loud neighbors. This may make it difficult to focus and concentrate on study. Lastly, 24 respondents vote that there are no noticeable changes in their academic performance because for some people, they are flexible enough to continue doing well academically even when their living conditions change. So, it is possible that they can effectively create an ideal study atmosphere despite influences from the outside.
Based on the chart pie above, 44 respondents choose yes with the statement, did their accommodation affect their spending? It is because respondents who are struggling financially or who are living on a tight budget might be more aware of how their expenses are impacted by all aspects of their life, including their housing. Next is 34 respondents choose not at all for the answer. It's possible that some students may be independent and pay for everything without needing financial support with housing. And lastly is 22 respondents choose sometimes as their answer. And based on our opinion, it is because some students may experience financial difficulties from time to time, which influence their choice of spending. According to the chart above, 48 respondents in total indicated monthly expenses of between 200 ringgit and 300 ringgit. For individuals who are not entering college, this expenses amount is the largest. And in my opinion, a large amount of a student budget is frequently dedicated to meals. And next is, there are 33 respondents is choosing to spend 300 to 400 ringgit in monthly. Whether they live on campus or not, the monthly expenses of students can differ depending on several factors. Lastly, there is 19 respondents who spend the monthly expenses between 100 to 200 ringgit. And in my perspective, students who struggle to make a living yet are tight for cash could purposefully keep their monthly spending low.
Based on the question,
It is about the participation in activities that are held by the university. As we can see, there are 46 respondents are choosing sometimes, 30 respondents are choosing yes, they are joining, and the rest are choosing no. Based on this response, we can conclude that all students have their own rights whether they want to participate or not, especially for students in semester 4 and 5 who are too busy to complete all their tasks and assignments that are given by the lecturer by the due date. With that, the university cannot force them all to go down and participate in every program that is conducted.
last question,
Based on our Google form, we can see that there are 45 respondents who are choosing to balance social life and academics. Moreover, there are 32 respondents who only choose to focus on academics, and the other 23 respondents choose to focus on social life only. By doing so, we can see that social life and academics are important to some students. This is because of a desire to not prioritize one aspect over others. Recognizing that a well-rounded college experience involves both academic
success,
and social enrichment. However, some students do not agree about that and only one of the activities. By that, we can see that it is hard to focus on both activities, and some of them think that focusing on academics will contribute to their better academics, performance, and future success. while others think that focusing on social life is important because they believe that a supportive social environment contributes to their overall well-being and success.
For accommodation, deciding between residence and non-resident accommodation is a big choice that will have a big influence on your experience at university. Living inside or outside the campus is dependent on personal optional. When choosing, take into consideration aspects like your spendings limit, way of life, and personal taste. If they like to interact with others, easy access to campus facility and convenient place, on campus might be a better option. However, non-resident option might be a better fit if the students like privacy, independence, and greater diversity of living experience.
For conclusion, the purpose of this exploratory research was to gain a better understanding of students' preferences for living on campus as residents or off campus as non-residents. After analyzing all of the survey results, we can conclude that the percentage of students who prefer to live on campus and off campus is equal. Living on campus gives residents access to academic resources with ease, as well as superior convenience and a sense of community. However, the freedom and independence that come with living off campus are enjoyed by non-residents. In the end, the choice between residents and non-residents is very particular. It is impacted by a variety of factors, including personal priorities, lifestyle preferences, and financial considerations. Students must carefully consider the advantages and disadvantages of each choice, taking into consideration their overall well-being, social preferences, and goals in education.